Alright everyone, important breaking news. Today's teenagers are a bunch of pussies. Yes indeed, they have resorted to using Delta-8 cannabinoid products, which are considerably weaker than just fucking obtaining marijuana, as though it's not available in any school around the country. They've begun using these largely unregulated products because they're available, like, you know, in a gas station and stuff like that, and you don't have to show ID to buy them, unless the gas station says, hey, you need to show ID. As though it was impossible for them to find that one friend whose mom has a prescription marijuana card. Or it's impossible in a state where it's been legalized, like my home state of Vermont. It's impossible to, you know, be friendly with the kid of the person who runs the dispensary and say, hey, you know, I'm sure that you got weed in your home. I'd like to try some kush. It's impossible to do. I guess people's social connections are all digital now, so they don't even talk to anyone in their community, and they don't even realize what's available. Today's teens are pussies. Now, when you're a teenager, you know, you can get away with more than when you're an adult. Just to be clear, I'm just saying this. Using watered-down CBD-derived Delta-H products to get a watered-down Pot-Lite high is pussification. In half the states in the country, marijuana is fundamentally legal, or at the very least, the cops look the other way. It's like in Vermont prior to legalization, right? This was a thing. I went to UVM. I know what I'm talking about. There's weed everywhere. Supposedly, weed was still illegal. But if the cops found you with a little pipe or a bong and your little green, you know, stash bag, you have your slice or whatever, would they arrest you for that? No. They would. They have to enforce the law, so they'd confiscate the weed and the pipe, but then they'd say, get out of here. You can do this in your home. Don't get caught again, Jimmy. Jesus. And then they'd probably go smoke the weed, too, because, you know, something like a quarter of the population has used it on at least a semi-regular basis for some time. Why use this other product that won't even get you as high? Or you probably have to buy more of it to get the same buzz. Weed is already there. People fucking grow marijuana now in a bunch of states. People can possess it in most of the states. It gets run across state lines. There's no real methodology to stop it, so who cares? Like like in New Hampshire, weed is illegal. In Vermont, it's legal. If I were to take a brick of weed and go across into New Hampshire, technically I'm breaking the law, but nobody's checking my car. There's no border control there. In a few areas of the country, you still have, like, border control situations, but not for the most part. Mostly it's absent. You know, if you drive from one coast to the other, you may have to pay a bunch of tolls in some states. Vermont, by the way, doesn't have those, although maybe it should at the state border. Raise a little revenue. We can lower the property tax rate by fucking the tourists in the ass. I see no problem with this. But, you know, you will go unimpeded. You're not going to have a bunch of drug dogs searching your car unless you try to go across an international border. So the teens, you know, I guess, you know, this article is part of a moral panic. Like, oh my God, here's the new problem. Teens are using this product. Yeah, and something like 10% of them are smoking weed on a daily basis. So, fucking what? Who cares? Oh, but it'll harm their mental development, Sticks. It's been correlated with... No, don't give me that bullshit. It doesn't matter if it's correlated with health problems, mental or otherwise. So is alcohol usage. You think teens don't go to drinking parties? Is it illegal? Yes. Is it a great idea for them to be doing that? No. Is it enforceable? Is there any methodology other than literally locking your kids in their room by which you're going to stop them from doing drugs, drinking, smoking marijuana, smoking cigarettes, having sex, unprotected sometimes because they're teens, is stupid, etc.? No, there's no methodology. Yes, so you'll be able to keep some of them on the straight and narrow, but there will always be people who sort of, you know, they want weed, they want cannabis products. They should just use the real thing. Use actual marijuana. Don't, you know, lower yourself down to using some bullshit from the gas station that's probably filled with Chinese chemicals anyway. You remember Spice, which I think is still available somehow? And I overdosed on that shit trying to make my own batch with JWH018 powder. It was I freebased it. Used a little bit too much, guys, and not gonna lie. There's a little bit out of it. As in, for 6 months I had anhedonia afterwards and could not feel physical pleasure. It was a big problem at the time. But it was marketed as legal weed. Well, the stuff that the teens are going to take in place of just give them marijuana if they want marijuana is worse. There are plenty of 15-year-olds out there who this morning, when they wake up and they watch this video, they're going to light up a joint. And it doesn't bother me in the least. Marijuana is not a problem. All of this bullshit aside about it's more powerful than it used to be, which is, by the way, not actually true. It's way stronger than it used to be. It's so terrible it can cause schizophrenia and all of these other lies that people tell themselves and then chuckle at them because they know that they're not actually true. It's sort of like watching, you know, your 40-year-old parent is lecturing you about not smoking with a Marlboro between their fingers or something like that. Hey, Jimmy, glug, 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 I'm telling you, you shouldn't drink. Never try a beer. Well, yeah, you may have had some negative experiences, but Jimmy's probably going to try a beer. Yeah, when I turned 21, it was one of the first things that I did. I got a Busch, actually. It's piss beer, and at first I fucking hated the taste. It was refreshing, though, I suppose. A lot cheaper back then. I don't encourage people to drink or even smoke weed, by the way. I'm not, disclaimer, I'm not encouraging anyone to use these substances. I'm just saying, you know, there's actual marijuana. It does exist. I wouldn't do dabbing or something like that, because that's fucking stupid. But it's available. It is definitely there. If you talk to your schoolmates, I know you only talk on the phone these days, probably kids, but if you talk to your school, I'm sure that you have that one kid who can poke you up. I'm just saying, in every school there's going to be a few kids that are using that sort of thing. There are kids that can get you pretty much anything under the sun. If you want drugs, you go to a school, a college, or a prison, ironically. Those are the easiest places to find them. That's about all. Peace out.